There is a power that lies hidden in solitude, a strength that many overlook in a world that glorifies noise, constant connection, and crowded calendars. Being alone does not mean being lonely. It is an opportunity to reconnect with the essence of who you are. Too often, we chase relationships, validation, and companionship to fill a void that only self-awareness and purpose can truly satisfy. But when a woman finds herself without friends, she has an invitation, an open door to step into a space where she can meet the most important person in her life, herself. There is a voice within you that has been drowned out by the clamor of the world. That voice carries wisdom, direction, and peace, but it requires stillness to be heard. Solitude is not an empty silence, it is a sacred symphony of self-discovery. It is in the quiet that you come face to face with your own thoughts, unfiltered and unedited. There you can ask yourself the hard questions that no one else dares to. Who am I really? What do I want? What is my purpose? These questions cannot be answered by the opinions of others, by fleeting friendships, or by the applause of a crowd. They must be answered in the stillness of your own soul. Too often we fear being alone because we believe it reflects inadequacy. Society has taught us that a woman without friends is somehow incomplete, somehow failing. But let me tell you, there is nothing broken about solitude. In fact, solitude is where wholeness is born. It is the space where you can shed the expectations placed upon you by others, the roles you've played to fit in, and the masks you've worn to be accepted. Solitude strips away the layers until all that is left is the raw, authentic you. And when you encounter that version of yourself, you realize that she is enough, she is worthy, she is powerful. There is no shame in walking a season of life alone. In fact, some of the greatest transformations happen in isolation. Think of a seed buried in the dark soil, hidden from view, seemingly forgotten. But within that dark, quiet space, the seed begins to sprout. Roots stretch downward, seeking sustenance, while the stem pushes upward, reaching for the light. The seed's transformation doesn't happen in the open where everyone can see. It happens in the solitude of the soil. In the same way, your solitude is not a season of emptiness, it is a season of preparation. Do not despise the quiet seasons of your life, for they are the foundation upon which your future will be built. In solitude, you learn resilience because there is no one else to lean on. You learn to trust yourself because there is no one else to make decisions for you. You learn to find joy in your own company because there is no one else to entertain you. These lessons are priceless, for they create a woman who is unshakable, unbreakable, and unstoppable. You see, there's a difference between isolation and intentional solitude. Isolation is a place of despair, but solitude is a place of empowerment. The difference lies in how you use the time. If you allow loneliness to consume you, you'll miss the gift that solitude offers. But if you embrace the stillness, if you lean into the quiet, you will discover that solitude is not a punishment, it is a privilege. It is a chance to recalibrate, to heal, and to grow. In solitude, you find clarity. Without the distractions of other voices, you begin to hear the whisper of your own intuition. You start to notice patterns in your life, what drains you, what energizes you, what truly matters. You gain perspective on the relationships and situations that no longer serve you. And when the time comes to step back into the world, you do so with a sense of purpose and direction that cannot be shaken by the opinions of others. The truth is, the world needs more women who are comfortable in their own company, women who do not need validation to feel valuable, women who are not afraid to stand alone. These women are a force to be reckoned with because their strength comes from within, not from the approval of others. They do not cling to friendships out of fear of being alone. They build relationships from a place of abundance, knowing that they are already complete. So if you find yourself in a season without friends, do not despair. Do not rush to fill the silence with noise or the space with superficial connections. Instead, embrace the solitude. Let it teach you, shape you, and prepare you for what is to come. Use this time to cultivate the gifts within you, to discover the passions that set your soul on fire, and to build a life that reflects the deepest desires of your heart. Remember, solitude is not a sentence, it is a sanctuary. It is a place where you can lay down the burdens of expectation and pick up the freedom of authenticity. It is where you can stop pretending and start becoming. And when you emerge from that sanctuary, you will do so as a woman who knows her worth, who walks in her purpose, and who does not fear the quiet because she has made peace with herself. Let the world say what it will about solitude. Let society label it as lonely or undesirable. You know the truth. Solitude is where you find your power, your peace, and your purpose. It is not an absence, it is an abundance waiting to be discovered. Embrace it and watch as your life is transformed from the inside out. There is a weight that many carry, a silent pressure from the world to always be surrounded by people, to always be connected. It whispers that being alone is a flaw, a shortcoming, a sign that something is wrong with you. But let me tell you the truth, there is no shame in walking through life with fewer people by your side. In fact, some of the greatest journeys, the most transformative seasons are traveled alone. The world has created a stigma around being alone, especially for women. Society tells you that your value is measured by the number of people who surround you, by the invitations you receive, by how busy your social calendar is. But what if I told you that this belief is a lie? What if I told you that being alone does not diminish your value, but rather gives you the space to truly discover it? You see, the world loves to celebrate the visible, the crowded, the noisy. But there is a beauty, a strength, and a power in the unseen moments, in the quiet spaces, in the seasons when you stand alone. A woman who learns to stand confidently in her solitude becomes unshakable because her worth is no longer tied to the approval or presence of others. She knows who she is, and she does not need a crowd to confirm it. We live in a culture that glorifies relationships and friendships as if they are the ultimate validation of our existence. And while relationships are beautiful and friendships are a gift, they are not the only measure of a fulfilling life. There are seasons when the absence of friends is not a punishment, but a divine pause, a sacred space where you can heal, grow, and rediscover yourself. In those moments, you must resist the urge to see your solitude as a failure. Instead, see it for what it truly is, an opportunity. There is a woman out there who feels the ache of loneliness, who wonders why others seem to have an abundance of friends while her circle feels empty. But let me tell you something, do not measure your life by the standards of others. The size of your circle does not determine the size of your worth. The presence or absence of friends does not define your value. You are enough just as you are. Breaking the stigma of being alone begins with changing the way you see yourself. Too often we allow the opinions of others to shape how we view our own lives. If the world calls us lonely, we start to believe it. If the world says we are incomplete without friends, we start to feel lacking. But the world does not get to define you. Your worth is not up for debate, and it is not dependent on the validation of others. A woman who walks alone is not weak. She is strong enough to carry the weight of her own dreams, her own struggles, her own triumphs. She does not need an audience to celebrate her victories or a crowd to validate her tears. She knows that her journey is hers alone, and she walks it with grace and dignity. Let go of the need to explain your solitude to others. Let go of the pressure to prove that you are okay, that you are enough, that you are thriving. You do not owe anyone an explanation for the season you are in. It is not your job to make others comfortable with your choices. Your solitude is not a reflection of your worth, it is a reflection of your strength. There will always be those who misunderstand your journey, who look at your life and see only the surface. They may wonder why you walk alone, why your path seems quieter than theirs. But they do not see the work being done in your heart, the growth happening in your soul, the peace you are cultivating in the quiet. They do not see the roots you are planting in the stillness. It takes courage to stand alone in a world that values the crowd. It takes strength to embrace your own company when others are chasing connections. But that courage, that strength will carry you further than the approval of any crowd ever could. When you break free from the stigma of being alone, you step into a new kind of freedom. You no longer live to please others. You no longer seek validation from those who do not understand your worth. You begin to live for yourself, for your purpose, for the things that truly matter. Being alone is not a sign of failure, it is a season of preparation. It is a time to focus on the things that matter most, to pour your energy into your dreams, your passions, your purpose. It is a time to build a foundation so strong that when the right people do come into your life, they will find you whole, healed, and ready. So let the world say what it will about solitude. Let society hold on to its misconceptions about being alone. You know the truth. You know that walking alone is not a burden, but a blessing, not a curse, but a calling. So it is an opportunity to discover who you truly are, to embrace your own worth, and to walk confidently in the direction of your destiny. Do not fear the quiet, for it is in the quiet that you will find your voice. Do not fear the stillness, for it is in the stillness that you will find your strength. And do not fear being alone, for it is in your solitude that you will find yourself. And when you find yourself, you will discover that you were never truly alone. You were always enough. You were always worthy. You were always whole. There's a fire thorns every woman, a quiet, persistent flame of self-reliance and independence. For some, it roars in the open, undeniable and bold. For others, it flickers softly, waiting for the right moment to rise. Regardless of its size or visibility, that fire is a gift, a testament to the strength and resilience that lives within you. When you find yourself standing alone without the support of others, you discover just how powerful that fire truly is. Self-reliance is not born out of abundance, it's forged in the trials of scarcity. It's easy to lean on others when they're there, to depend on friends, family, or a partner to carry some of life's weight. But what happens when they're not? What happens when you're the only one left standing? In those moments, you come face to face with your own strength. You learn that you are more capable, more resourceful, and more resilient than you ever imagined. A woman who walks in independence is a woman who knows how to create her own joy. She doesn't wait for someone else to validate her or fulfill her needs. She doesn't sit idly hoping for rescue or waiting for affirmation. No, she rises up and does what needs to be done. She builds her life with her own two hands, crafting a reality that reflects her dreams, her vision, and her worth. Independence is not a rejection of relationships or support. It's the ability to thrive whether those things are present or not. It's knowing that while friends and loved ones may walk beside you, they are not responsible for carrying you. Your journey, your success, and your happiness are yours to cultivate. And when you embrace that truth, you unlock a freedom that no one can take away. There's a misconception that independence means isolation, that to be self-reliant is to be detached or unapproachable. But true independence is not about shutting people out. It's about building a foundation so strong that you don't crumble when others step away. It's about standing tall in your own identity, rooted in who you are, not in who others expect you to be. Some of the strongest women in history were those who learned to stand alone. Not because they wanted to, but because they had to. They faced challenges that could have broken them, endured seasons of solitude that could have silenced them, but instead they used those moments to grow. They found within themselves a strength that could not be shaken, a determination that could not be extinguished. And that same strength lives within you. When you embrace self-reliance, you stop waiting for permission to live your life. You stop waiting for someone else to open the door, to extend an opportunity to give you a seat at the table. Instead, you create your own opportunities. You build your own table. You walk through doors that others didn't even know existed. And in doing so, you inspire others to do the same. There's a power in knowing that you can take care of yourself, that you can provide for your own needs, that you can navigate life's challenges with grace and courage. It doesn't mean you won't ever need help or that you won't ever ask for it. But it does mean that your strength is not dependent on the presence or absence of others. You carry that strength with you no matter where you go or who stands beside you. Sometimes the journey to self-reliance is born out of necessity. Life has a way of stripping away the things we thought we couldn't live without, leaving us to confront our own capabilities. Maybe you faced betrayal, abandonment, or loss. Maybe you found yourself in a season where the people you thought would be there simply weren't. In those moments, it's easy to feel defeated, to believe that you're not enough. But let me remind you, what you need is already within you. The strength to overcome, the wisdom to navigate, the courage to keep going. It's all there, waiting to be tapped into. When you rely on yourself, you begin to see the world differently. You stop looking for what others can give you and start asking what you can give to yourself. You become the architect of your own life, designing it in a way that aligns with your values and desires. And when you do invite others into your life, you do so not out of need, but out of abundance. Independence doesn't mean you won't face challenges. It doesn't mean the road will always be smooth or the answers will always be clear. But it does mean that when the storms come, you won't be swept away. You'll stand firm, anchored by the knowledge that you have everything you need to weather the storm. There is a confidence that comes with self-reliance, a quiet assurance that says, I can do this. It's not arrogance, it's not pride. It's the understanding that you are equipped, capable, and enough. That confidence is what allows you to walk boldly into the unknown, to take risks, to pursue your dreams without fear. So if you find yourself in a season where you're walking alone, don't see it as a loss. See it as a loss. See it as a gift. Use this time to build, to grow, to discover what you're truly capable of. Embrace the freedom that comes with knowing you don't need anyone else to define your worth. Let the world say what it will about independence. Let them call it lonely or unnecessary. You know the truth. You know that self-reliance is not about rejecting others. It's about embracing yourself. It's about standing tall in the knowledge that you are whole, that you are capable, and that you are enough. And when you live from that place, there is nothing you cannot achieve. There's something transformative about embracing seasons of solitude, something powerful about standing in the stillness and listening to the quiet whispers of your own soul. It's in these moments when distractions fall away that clarity begins to emerge. There's a reason why solitude is often the birthplace of purpose, why some of the most profound visions for life are birthed not in the crowd, but in the quiet. For a woman who finds herself walking alone, it can feel like a barren season of time when questions far outnumber answers. You might ask, why am I here? Why has this been allowed in my life? But don't mistake the quiet for emptiness. Don't misinterpret the absence of others as a lack of meaning. The quiet is where the groundwork is laid, where the seeds of your purpose are planted, and where the vision for your future begins to take shape. You see, purpose is not often revealed in the noise. The voices of others, while well-meaning, can drown out the voice you most need to hear your own. When you are constantly surrounded by people, constantly seeking external validation, it becomes easy to lose sight of who you are and why you are here. But when you're alone, when you are stripped of the noise, the distractions, and the opinions, you begin to see yourself with clarity. You begin to reconnect with the dreams, passions, and desires that have always lived inside of you. Purpose is a deeply personal thing. It's not something that can be handed to you by others or found in a crowded room. is something that is discovered in the quiet places, in the moments when you dare to sit with yourself and ask the hard questions. What am I here to do? What gifts have been placed inside me? What impact do I want to leave on this world? These are questions that only you can answer, and they often require the solitude of a season where you walk alone. There's a refining process that happens in solitude. It strips away the unnecessary, the superficial, the things that don't truly matter. It forces you to confront your fears, your doubts, and your insecurities. It challenges you to look inward and wrestle with the parts of yourself that you've been avoiding. But it's in that refining process that you emerge stronger, clearer, and more aligned with your purpose. A woman walking alone is a woman on a journey of discovery. She's not lost, she's exploring. She's not abandoned, she's being prepared. And while others may look at her season of solitude and see lack, she knows it is a season of abundance. For in this time, she is learning to hear the voice of her own intuition, to trust the whispers of her spirit, and to follow the guidance of something greater than herself. There's a danger in relying too heavily on others to define your purpose. When you let the opinions of others shape your life, you risk building a future that doesn't truly belong to you. But when you step away, when you embrace the solitude and allow yourself to listen, you begin to uncover a purpose that is uniquely yours. It's not shaped by what others think you should do or who they think you should be. It's shaped by who you are at your core, by the gifts and talents that have been placed inside of you. Purpose often requires a season of preparation, and preparation often requires solitude. Think about it, a seed doesn't grow in the light of day. It's planted in the darkness, hidden beneath the soil, where it can develop roots and draw strength from the earth. In the same way, your purpose needs time to grow in the hidden places. It needs time to develop roots that will sustain you when the storms of life come. The world may not understand your season of solitude, but you must hold on to the truth that this is not a season of punishment. It is a season of preparation. It is a time to focus on what truly matters, to refine your vision, and to align yourself with the path you are meant to walk. It is a time to pour into yourself, to invest in your growth, and to build a foundation that will carry you into the future. Don't rush this season. Don't be so eager to fill the quiet that you miss the lessons it has to teach you. Purpose is not something you stumble upon, it's something you uncover through intentional reflection and action. And that process takes time. It takes patience. It takes courage. When you emerge from this season, you will not be the same. You will walk with a confidence that comes from knowing who you are and why you are here. You will speak with authority because you have spent time wrestling with the questions that matter. And you will live with a sense of fulfillment because you are aligned with your purpose. The world needs women who have walked through seasons of solitude and come out stronger on the other side. It needs women who know their worth, who are clear on their purpose, and who are unshaken by the opinions of others. So if you find yourself walking alone, embrace it. See it for what it is, an opportunity to discover, to grow, and to prepare. Your purpose is waiting for you in the quiet. It's waiting for you to listen, to trust, and to take the first step. And when you do, you'll realize that this season of solitude was not a detour, it was the very path that led you to your destiny. Healing is not an event, it's a journey, a process that requires time, patience, and intentional effort. It's not something that just happens because you wish for it or because you've been through enough pain. Healing is a choice, a decision to confront the wounds, to address the scars, and to embrace the work it takes to restore what's been broken. It's not always easy, but it is always worth it. Pain has a way of lingering, embedding itself into the deepest parts of who we are. It colors how we see the world, how we see others, and even how we see ourselves. But healing begins when we make the decision not to let our pain define us. It starts when we say, I am more than what I've been through. I refuse to let this be the end of my story. That decision doesn't make the hurt disappear, but it opens the door for growth, for restoration, and for a new beginning. The truth about healing is that it's deeply personal. No one can walk that road for you. Others can encourage you, support you, and pray for you, but the work of healing is yours to do. And while that might seem daunting, it's also empowering. It means you have the power to take control of your story, to rewrite the narrative, and to create a future that is not bound by the pain of your past. Healing requires honesty with yourself about where you've been, what you've experienced, and how it has affected you. It's tempting to bury the pain, to pretend it doesn't exist, or to mask it with busyness, relationships, or distractions. But ignoring the wound doesn't make it go away, it only allows it to fester. Healing begins when you confront the pain, when you name it, and when you commit to doing the work to move beyond it. It's important to understand that healing doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending the hurt never happened or minimizing its impact. Healing is about acknowledging the pain, honoring the lessons it has taught you, and choosing to release its hold on your future. It's about finding meaning in the struggle, strength in the storm, and purpose in the process. There's no timeline for healing, no formula or step-by-step guide that works for everyone. Your journey is unique, and it will take as long as it takes. Some wounds heal quickly, while others require more time and effort. What matters is that you keep moving forward, that you keep taking steps, no matter how small, toward wholeness. Celebrate the progress, no matter how incremental, and trust that every step is bringing you closer to the freedom and peace you deserve. Healing also requires grace for yourself as you navigate the ups and downs of the journey. There will be days when you feel strong, when it seems like the weight of the pain is finally lifted. And there will be days when the hurt resurfaces, when the progress feels undone, and when you question whether healing is even possible. Those moments are not setbacks, they are reminders that healing is a process, not a destination. Extend grace to yourself in those moments. Be patient with yourself. And remember that the journey is just as important as the destination. One of the most powerful aspects of healing is the way it transforms you. The pain you've endured, the struggles you face, they shape you, but they don't have to define you. Healing allows you to take what was meant to harm you and turn it into something that strengthens you. It gives you the opportunity to grow in resilience, to deepen your empathy, and to discover a strength you never knew you had. Healing is not something you have to do alone. While the work is yours to do, there is power in community, in surrounding yourself with people who support you, uplift you, and remind you of your worth. Don't be afraid to lean on others, to ask for help, and to accept the love and encouragement they offer. Healing doesn't mean you have to be strong all the time. That means being brave enough to admit when you need support. As you heal, you begin to see yourself in a new light. You begin to reclaim the parts of yourself that were lost in the pain. You rediscover your passions, your dreams, and your sense of purpose. And you realize that the pain you've endured has not destroyed you, it has refined you. It has prepared you for greater things, for a future that is brighter and more fulfilling than you ever imagined. Healing is a journey of hope. It's a journey that requires faith in the possibility of a better tomorrow, faith in your ability to overcome, and faith in the process itself. Even when the road feels long, even when the progress feels slow, hold on to the hope that healing is possible. Because it is. No matter how deep the wound, no matter how long the pain has lingered, there is always hope for healing. So take the first step or the next step. Trust the process, embrace the journey, and know that healing is within your reach. You are not defined by your pain. You are not limited by your past. You are stronger than you know, braver than you feel, and more capable than you believe. And as you walk the road of healing, you'll find that you're not just mending what was broken, you're becoming something greater. The journey of healing is one of the greatest acts of self-love you can undertake. It's an investment in your future, a declaration of your worth, and a commitment to living the life you were meant to live. So keep going, keep believing, and keep healing. Your best days are still ahead.